All right. So hello everybody again, and my name is Lee Lei. I will kick off the meeting by introducing Director Ben de Guzman. And Director de Guzman, do you like to do some remarks to the peer reviewers?
No, just want to say hello to everybody, and I want to thank you all for your support of this effort. Our grant program is really an important way for us to support the community, and so your support in turn really makes sure that we're able to put resources out into the organizations that provide critical resources for our residents. So just thank you for everything you're about to do for us. So I'll turn it back to you, Lee. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Guzman. So I would love to introduce Ms. Ngọc Trinh, who will start the presentation and introduce and also walk you through all the important information about the peer review process.
Okay.
Ms. Ngọc, you are muted yourself, and I'm going to share my screen with the presentation as well.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Sorry about that. Thank you for joining us. This session is being recorded, and we will share the recording with anyone who cannot attend today, or you yourself can refer to it later if needed. My name is Ngọc Trinh. I am the Director of Operations for the Mayor's Office on Asian and Pacific Islander Affairs, and part of my job is to oversee our grant programs. You have heard from our Director, Ben de Guzman. You have heard from Lee Lei, who is our Grant Management Specialist. And you haven't heard from Sarah Park, who is also here with us, our grant monitor, but a lot of you have been communicating with Sarah when you sign up for the review job with us. So thank you again for your time. We are very grateful that you take the time to volunteer to do grant review for us. And we know how busy you are, so we are very, very thankful for your help. Next slide, please. Here is our agenda for today. The first part is about our community grant. The second part is in the second part we're going to go over the reviewing and scoring. Third part will walk you through Zoom grants and we'll answer all your questions in the last part 4. Next slide, please. So Moabia's community grant program started in FY20. In FY 2007, and through the last many years, we have seen many iterations of the program, and I can say that the scope of works of the grants that we have supported and given out has expanded each year. Our program, next slide, please. We fund culturally and linguistically appropriate programs and provide the programs that provide direct services to the district. And the total funding available for FY22 is $213,300. Award can be up to $55,000 depending on the quality of the application, the scope of work, and how many qualified applicants we will receive. Award notification will be released in mid-September 2021, and the grant period is going to be, this is the FY22 grant period is going to be from October 1st of this year to September 30th of next year. Next slide, please. So the funding priority areas will be aligned with the mayor's budget priorities: education, job, economic development, public safety, civic engagement, health and wellness, youth engagement, art and creative economy, COVID-19 recovery, and applicants can choose to apply to propose a program that is not in any of these priorities areas, but of course priorities are given to these areas listed here, but do not disqualify them if you don't see that the areas are not one of these. So applicants must meet all of these conditions. I'm not going to read all of these, but I want to mention that we at the end of the application period, which is on the it's on August the 2nd. At 5 p.m. Moabia will screen and see if an organization submit their 501c3 tax exempt document, basic business license, certificate of good standing and clean hands certificate, budget audit certificate, assurances, and certifications. So when you review, you do not have to be worried about these items. In fact, you won't see these items on your portal because they contain confidential information of our applicants. So we'll make it easy for you. We'll go over, and whatever that we will assign to you will be those who pass the screening, meaning that they have met the requirement for all of these documents. And so you will focus on reviewing their program proposals. Next slide, please. So here is the proposal narrative. The list, here is the applicant checklist. The first part is proposal narrative. Next slide, please. And then attachment. Next slide, please. And oh, I think Lee, you are not using the last version because I made edits to this. I've made quite a lot of edits to it. Do you think you can switch to the version on M Drive?
Sorry, I was trying to ask whenever you finish updating it, and then I'll use that version. But here in my laptop, I don't have VPN like now. So if you could drop it in Slack, I can download it and then I'll play it here.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right. So
everybody, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen right now, and then I will be back shortly.
Maybe while we're waiting, we can see if folks have any questions or observations so far.
Hi, this is Ethel Badawi, and I apologized. I joined just 5 minutes later. So will the slides be available for us so that we have these things that we should be looking for as we review these applications?
Yes, absolutely. And the session is being recorded too, so you can refer to it, especially for the part that you miss. I just put it in Slack for you. Sorry about this hiccup. Let me know if you see it, Lee.
And do we have a sense of how many applicants each of us will be assigned to review?
We do not know yet. We've seen some new applicants this year, and we don't know if all current grantees are coming back. We've seen some of them, but usually the last day of the application process is when all the applicants will come in. So unfortunately, as of now, we do not know yet, but we do not expect more than 2 per person.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. So yes, we are back to the application checklist. This is all of this is in the RFA, which I believe that you have access to, and you also are required to read so that you know what we are looking for in an application. Next slide, please. And next slide, please. So I'm not going to read each item because again, we are going to share this slide with you. And we also list it in the RFA, so you have it for reference. But one thing to note is that if they say they are partnering with someone with another organization, there should be a signed memo or agreement with a clear division of work between them. So a letter of support, a general letter of support will not do. All right, next please. This is our community grant review process. The first step is you, the external review panel. These include neutral qualified individuals. Then after you finish reviewing, it goes to our internal grant committee, which include our director, myself, director of operations, Lile, our grant manager, and Sarah Park, our grant monitor. After that, it goes to the Grant Advisory Review Board, which includes the Mayor's Chief of Staff, Mayor's Deputy Chief of Staff, the Director of the Mayor's Office on Community Affairs, and our General Counsel. And next slide, please. We are expected to send out the notification in mid-September. Next slide. Yes. So in reviewing and scoring, these are the items that you are looking for and you are scoring on. Soundness of the proposal, program goals, objectives and services, program evaluations, organizational capacity and relevance experience, sound fiscal management and budget, and community outreach plan. Zoom Grant is set up so that each item is broken down, and you can check them on Zoom Grant easily, and each item is assigned a certain number of points, adding up to the total of 100. Everything is set up in Zoom Grant already, which we will go over in the next part. Everything here is important, but I want you to pay close attention as you review applications to soundness of the application and the back to the last slide, and the relevant experience and capacity of the applicant. So if they say they are working with the Chinese community, for example, but they do not mention anything about Chinese speaking capacity, no Chinese speaking staff, no plan to recruit bilingual volunteers, no plan to have any budget for translation or interpretation, that's a flag. If they mention no experience working with the community before, and they also have no plan on partnering with anyone with such experience and capacity, then that's another flag. That's not sound. Also look to see if the goals that they set are realistic, because some plans look really impressive with big numbers, but can they achieve that? Based on their experience, based on their capacity, is that realistic? So look for those things. For one example is for example, someone says they are going to reach 500 South Asian who are limited English proficient in the district. That probably will raise that is something that would raise a flag to me, because where are they? How are they going to locate these individuals? Because from the experience that we work with the community and how we understand the community, it will be a real challenge locating that many people, let alone reaching out to them. So when you read the proposal, look for those things. And flag it and enter that in the note in Zoom Grant. And take that into consideration when you score them. So let's move to the next part, Zoom Grant, and Lee is going to walk you over to it. And let's, I know you probably will have questions. Let's hold them until the end. We will have the Q&A sessions and we'll answer everyone's questions there. Thank you.
Thank you, Ngọc, very much for the insightful and informative sharing earlier. So right now, I'm going to walk everybody through the reading and scoring applications process in Zoom Grant portal. So this is the important timeline that everybody should pay attention to, which is the grant review process will begin from the second
The third.
by 3
I'm
p.m.
sorry. So we should have updated this. So it's due to the extended of the deadline for the application process. The last day of the application is on August 2nd. So the application, the reviewing process will start from August 3rd through August 9th.
Got it. Thank you, Ngọc. So also, Moapia Mayor's Office on Asian and Pacific Islander Affairs is not equipped for technical troubleshooting. So if you have any issues with the portal, please contact Zoom Grant technical support directly at the link below, or dial the number at 866-323-5404 and extension 2. So I'm going to stop sharing the presentation right now, and I'll be back with the Zoom Grant portal, and I'll walk you through in details how we are going to read and score the application. Okay, so this year, all applications must be scored online in Zoom Grant portal with the URL of link. Domain name is zoomgrants.com, and reviewers will review and score as well as got assigned from 2 to 3 proposals. And in order to review the applications on Zoom Grant, you must have an account. So for any reviewer who do not have an account before, Sarah has set up the account for you along with the password using your email address. And for returning reviewers who have had an account already, Sarah also had sent a reset password link to your provided email. So in case you cannot find it in your mailbox, please feel free to let me or Sarah know immediately so we can resend it to you. Zoom Grant part will include 3 sections. The first thing is about reading the application, and the second will be scoring application. And also, I will share with you how you're gonna record your recommendation and the scoring as well. First of all, let's log on the Zoom Grant at zoomgrant.com using your email address and password. So I already remember my account over here, so I'm going to click on the login button. So the site will open a page would include a listing of grant programs that you are assigned to review. And you can see my highlighted area right here. You will see a list of them. And then you choose the grant program to review by clicking on the link for the grant program you wish to review. The link will open your program dashboard for that program. So let's say you are assigned to review the FY22 AAPI community grant. So I'm going to click at the link, the orange link here. And then across the top of the page, you will see a series of tabs that include dashboard, applications, and data as well as scoring. This is from the administrator portal, so from your end you will not see the program setup tab. So now we can start reading the information for each application. And then you can click on the application title link. You can click on the application tab or either look at the official decisions up here as well. But for easy, I'm gonna click at the application tab. So since right now my account is not assigned with any application, but whenever we start assigning application to you as peer reviewer, you will see an A letter on the left end around this area. And then you can click at the link where you see the A letter, and it will open a full application, which consists a series of tabs. And then I'm gonna click at a test application, for example. So like I mentioned, there are a series of tabs you can see, which is application summary, pre-application, application questions, proposed plans and reporting, and then the last one will be supporting documents. And what are they? Application summary, it includes contact information for the applying organization. And pre-application, it reviews the applicant's responses to the pre-application questions, which help determine whether the organization meets the threshold to complete a full application. So there are only 3 pre-application questions here. And the next step will be application questions. This contains the bulk of information that reviewers need to read. Questions are specific to the current program for which the programs, questions are specific to the current program for which the organizations are applying. And then the next step would be proposed plans and reporting. This provides a literal snapshot of budget, funding, resources, expenses, as well as a brief narrative explanation for budget items, as well as staffing plan, work plan, and performance plan, where applicants propose their deliverables throughout the whole fiscal year. And then the last tab of the application will be supporting documents. So this tab includes uploaded documents required for all applicants, and at the minimum, reviewers should read the document related to budget and performance measures, but you can feel free to read or review anything on the page. So when you go through the list of supporting documents, you will see any required document will be marked at the checkbox here, and they are mandatory for the applicant to upload on the portal. So next part would be scoring application. When you have an application open, the header right here will include a button called Review Tools. And whenever you are ready to score the application, you can click on Review Tools to open a page that provides scoring criteria and allows you to select your scores for the application you are currently viewing. So right now, I am not assigned to this application, so I cannot select the score for each criteria. But whenever you got assigned to the application, you will see what I meant. So next, you can respond to the questions. Scoring requires responding to a series of questions about the application, and for each question, you can select a score in the score drop-down menu, where like I said, you will see whenever you got assigned to the application, then the lower number indicates a poor applicant response. If applicable, you can also enter a comment for each scoring question, so you will see a field about the question that you are reviewing, and you can type up to 500 characters in there for each comment. And you may also enter private note in the field near the bottom. So I'm gonna scroll all the way down here. So this is where you can see the private note. All you can see the notes that you enter in this area. And then also at the bottom of the review tools page, there's an additional space for general scoring comments that you would like to leave for more of your team to see. But this is not required, so you can leave any additional comment here as needed as well. And then the next part. So I'm gonna scroll back to the top of the page. So near the top of Review Tools page is a field called Vote. So this is the area that I'm talking about. So it's called Vote, and this is the area to enter a recommended funding amount. And in the vote field, please select from a drop-down menu to record your recommendation, and options are undecided, approve, decline, or abstain or recuse. And in the recommended amount field, you can enter the funding amount that you recommend for the application, and a Moabia team will discuss the applications prior to the final decisions. And please keep in mind that Zoom grants save your responses as well as the scoring automatically, but you may go back to review the tools, to the review tools, or any questions that you went through, and change the scores if desired. And the Zoom grant system will save everything automatically, as mentioned. And if you want to return to the list of assigned application to score the next one, you can go back to the top and then click at the Applications tab. So this will return you to the full list of assigned applications, and you can continue the scoring process. And you may log out or return as needed if you cannot get through all the applications in one sitting. So that is pretty much it for the Zoom grant portal. But if you still have any questions, feel free to leave your question about Zoom grant at the chat box, and we will try to address them today. But other than that, you can find my tutorial earlier in the video, which will be shared in the follow-up email. So I'm going to hand it back to Nok for the question and answer section.
Thank you. Hi, thank you, Lee. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Thanks. That concludes our presentation, and now we are moving to the Q&A session. Feel free to raise your hand, ask a question, or type your question in the chat box.
Go ahead and ask a question if that's okay. I just had a really quick question about the scale of the scoring. Is it 1 to 10? Is that going to be clear in terms of the number that we assign for each of those areas? Can you hear me?
Sorry, I'm sorry, I was on mute. Yes, Lee, could you go back to slide number 13, please?
Sure.
Yes, so the answer to the question is that you are going to score on 6 big items. Soundness of the proposal gets 20 points. Program goals, objectives, and services get 15 points. Program evaluation, 15 points. Organizational capacity and relevant experience, 25 points. Sound fiscal management and budget, 15 points. Community outreach, 10 points. And each of these points has sub category that is listed in Zoom grant, and all the points are tally to 100 points. So everything is already set for you. You just go into Zoom grant and click the appropriate box and enter the score that you think they deserve.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you.
And adding on top of useful information, I will share the scoring breakdown in the follow-up email as well.
Any other questions?
This is also an opportunity for you to ask questions about the agency also. I'm not sure how much you all know about who we are and what we do, but if any additional knowledge about our office will help you in your reviewing, we're happy to answer those questions here as well.
So since I don't hear any questions, I want to.
No, I see Yamuna has a question.
Oh, okay.
He or she has a hand up.
Hi. I just have a quick question. How low can you go in scoring, but still approve the application? Is there like some kind of a rule?
That is a good question. Don't worry about how low. You just assign it a value that you think it deserves. You can still say denied if the scoring is relatively high, or you can still say approve if the scoring is relatively low. We will take into consideration everything that you put in there, the scoring, the comment, the flags that you raise, and we will make a decision.
Okay, great. Thank you.
One thing that I want to mention again, the organization needs to be, the principal place of business needs to be in the District of Columbia, and they need to provide services and program to the District of Columbia residents. So their programming is in the district, and the target audience, their target audience should be the Pacific Island, Asian American and Pacific Islander community, including businesses and residents.
Right. And then mostly Siddiq and DC Water, can I ask you a question?
Of course, go ahead.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Are there any objective categories that we use to do the evaluation? Now, for example, something about the organizational capability. How do you what does it mean that it can be subjectively, my perception of what capabilities are, or are there any objective ones that one can use?
Could you clarify your question, please? I couldn't quite
For example,
understand.
if there is a category, I think you talked about giving points for organizational capability. What does it mean, for example? What does it mean that what organizational capability are we talking about?
Okay, so if they do not mention anything about staff, so they will need to submit resume of staff, right? If none of the staff has any experience working with the community they say they are working with,
Okay.
none of the staff has bilingual capacity, that's an indication of their capacity.
Okay.
Or if they have a great experience in that field and has language capacity or have cultural knowledge of that, that's a plus for their capacity.
So are there more like that, more categories like that we can check off? That you talked about language, one very important one, and their technical capability for perhaps. Anything else that we need to look into? I guess what I'm looking for is things that we can check off and see that out of 10 categories they have at least 8, 9 of them. So I give them 8 out of 10 for them. That kind of stuff. I guess we are trying to make the task a little easier for us to do. And system from on the across the
Yes, I do not have it right in front of me here, but I believe that each scoring criteria has, I found it. Each scoring criteria has sub has smaller items. For example, the sound is a proposal. There is a question. The program result in the accomplishment of the program goals, objectives, and outcome consistent with the program. And then another, the description of the program implementation, including the work plan, is realistic based on the proposed time requirement. Or the organization capacity and relevant experiences. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sub-items. Applicant demonstrate qualifications and past experience to provide services applied for and in serving the district's AAPI community. And then provide information on prior programs, accomplishments, evaluations, findings, changes made as a result of the evaluation should be referenced. And then applicant clearly details objectives and related activities, programs, inputs, outcomes, estimated timeline, milestones, and staff responsible. Applicant demonstrates capacity to work with district's API community, the district's API constituents, language minority populations. Applicants demonstrates an established organizational structure and its ability to administer the proposed program and functions. So all of these is already put, we already put all of these subcategories in the Zoom grant. And you can just address them as you go through Zoom grant. Does that answer your question?
Yes, yes, absolutely. Thank you very much.
I see Yamuna still has the hand up. Do you still have any question for us?
It may have been from her previous question, but she's also on mute, so I don't know if she's trying to ask. And
okay, it looks like there is no other question. So
Can I add one more, Nuk?
yes.
Yes. Hi, everyone. If you experience any difficulties to logging into the Zoom grant or password, if you required any password reset, please let me know.
But other than that, other technical issues with Zoom grant should be addressed to Zoom grant itself. Lee, can you show that that page, please? And we are going to update that slide, and we will share this presentation with you so that you know the contact information for Zoom grant.
actually, Lee, what might be more helpful is if you can cut and paste the link into the chat. That way folks can can copy it for themselves too. That might be easier than, because you know, if you can see it on the screen, you can't copy it, but if it's on our chat, people can individually grab it for themselves.
That makes sense. Thanks, Ben, for sharing.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for doing this.
Thank you everyone again for your help. Oh, Valerie, did you try to ask a question or say
I
something?
just said thank you for doing the training today.
Of
And,
course. Thank you. We are, again, we are so grateful. We know all of you are very busy professionals, and you set aside time to volunteer for us to do this for the community. We are very touched and deeply grateful.
Thank you very much.
I think a lot of organizations have had a hard time, with COVID, and the fundraising, so the grants are very, very important, particularly this year. So
Thank you.
Yeah, I did want to name that actually, given the position we are with respect to the pandemic and its shift. I mean, the ground is shifting on our feet, under our feet as we're talking, but especially given the ways in which our residents have uniquely experienced the pandemic and the violence against Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders, unfortunately, that we faced, your help in making sure that we are able to provide our communities with the resources they need to address these issues is even more important. So thank you, even more so on behalf of our residents.
yeah, and just as a disclosure, I'm an advisor with AA Lead. So, and Devotion to Children, as well as an international think tank. Yeah, I'm a federal employee, but so I can't do anything that conflicts with those. But I know from personal experience from being stationed in Asia when I was on active duty, there's a implicit bias as well as outright bias against Asians and Asian Americans, and that's been very prevalent in the last several years, but most particularly since the outbreak of COVID, and it hasn't been getting better. So I think it's important to do these grants to show the contributions that the Asian American community makes in a positive way.
Thank you. And what you just shared remind me of a point that we haven't touched, which is conflict of interest. So as of now, we do not know who will submit their applications. As we find out after the deadline, we might find out that there might be conflict of interest for some of you, or we might find out that there is no conflict of interest at all. But if we do find out, we will inform you, and then we will have to withdraw you from this program. But there are other grant programs within the mayor's office on Asian and Pacific, within the mayor's office on community affairs, that you can also help review grants, and we will refer you to the other programs if there is a conflict of interest with with any applicants that we receive.
Yeah, I'm a member of VABA and APAPA as well, so the Asian Pacific Bar and the Vietnamese American Bar.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty active. So
Yes.
I won't do anything with them because of conflicts issues, but and that's all on my disclosures. But
we appreciate the disclosure. Thank
You're
you.
busy, Valerie.
well, it's important to be involved and to help others. So
Yeah, thank you very much for everything that you're doing for the community. Is there any other comments or questions from any one of you? If not, I think we can conclude our session here. Thank you again for your time. We hope to assign applications to you no later than the morning of the 3rd of August. So if you have any clarifying questions about how to go about it, feel free to let us know. For technical questions on Zoom Grant, we will have to direct you to Zoom Grant And again, their link and their number is listed in the chat box here. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Email with all required information. Thanks.